Next up, the Roughneck Poet.
Howdy, all. My name is Nathan, and I read poetry under the pseudonym of the Roughneck Poet. And I'm going to read two poems tonight. One is my oldest one, and one is the one I just finished writing. So this is my first one. It's called It's Like You Know Me So Well. It's like you know me so well. My shoulder, not the one I had surgery on, the one where I was stabbed, it still belongs to her. I closed my eyes. Her breathing would slow and become quiet. Without saying a word, my arms were a few seconds of refuge from her nightmare. A crowded room, empty. I bear the unbearable. Her softness and warmth is not nakedness. It is where our bodies and our souls became blurred. I can't make myself push her away. The others I could. I said no. The nice lady who is married to a doctor. She goes to church on Sunday, drives a nice car to her downtown job. She posts profiles on analhumiliation.com. She knows she will always be a tenderloin crack whore with a master's degree, and her daddy doesn't love her. When she unties my shoelaces with her toes under the table on the post, she's not loving me, she's hating herself. It was easy to say no. I said no, driving a friend home. She was dry heaving out the window in the rain, her whole body spasming. I could smell vegan burritos, 151 in Coke, and stomach acid. Hanging her head out of the window made her long, muscular legs look perfect and smooth. I would shift gears. Soon I thought how juvenile it would be to act like using her thighs as a hand rest was an accident. I felt her knees against my hand. I took my eyes off the road for a second when we passed under a highway light. 45 and childlike, beautiful, even passed out. We got to my place. Her falling flat on her ass made me think that playing alien abduction and cooking her breakfast would have to wait for another rainy night. But I knew it was over. Colorblind. She looks miserable alone until she sees me. Her eyes lighting up is the only color my heart can see. I'm supposed to push her away. In our embrace, she forgets I was just a friend, and I would always know the secrets of her body and her weaknesses. And how many times are you supposed to hold someone you love in your arms before your heart's weakness becomes your heart's punishment? Before you don't wonder what you would be like in bed, you already know everything. I wish I had been stronger. We spent 2 hours not looking at each other. She put her hair up, her hair down, her hair up, shake it all around. Just walk out, walk away, ignore her. The whole time I was telling myself what I was not going to do, I was walking toward her. She was frozen, grinning ear to ear, death grip on the bar. She was telling herself what she was not going to do, not again. My fingers lightly landed on her arm like a dandelion blowing in the wind. And then I was trapped, no escape. The nightmare of being in each other's arms again. I exhaled like a trapped animal, because I was. Our bodies formed to each other. I'm not sure or what we said, anything to each other. She sprung out of my arms. She wouldn't look at me. It was over. I walked away. I walked out of the coffee house. I sat on the bus alone. Everyone knew what had happened. I walked into my apartment. I held my pillow. I knew I was not going to sleep. I knew I was finally free. I had made it easy for her to leave me alone. I had kissed her. Thank you. This is the new one I wrote. I ran into John Lorenz a couple of Saturdays ago, and he kind of inspired me to write my new poem. It's called Shenebe Shaboom Shaboom. It was a bad TV night. There was a show at Southgate House, 15 bands on 3 stages, $10. The only band I had heard of was one of my favorites, Booger Ooger. Sloan is so sweet and so funny. I like to spice up my life with some bluegrass occasionally. People who only listen to one genre of music and base their identity on one genre are usually closed-minded buttholes. I remember that when my life was nothing but punk rock. I was pretty broke, but I was really bored. People think I like Sloane just because of her breasts. They're probably right. Even if she was as flat as the world economy, she'd still look like a little devil doll. And if she wasn't as cute as a clothes hamper full of kittens, she'd still be a sweetie pie. But $10 was all the money I had. There was another show at CS13 for $5. I had never heard of any of the bands playing. I also thought the CS13 pricks took themselves too seriously sometimes. I was off to Southgate. There was a really big crowd. I had to stand in line behind some really stupid-looking college kids. They allow smoking in bars in Kentucky. I smelled like an ashtray even before I got into the bar. After I paid the biker doorman my $10, I asked if Sloane had played yet. He said that she had canceled. I was pissed. I had come all the way out to Newport and paid $10 and no Sloane. It was the second time she hadn't showed up to a show, betrayed by a kiss from a beautiful woman. Not the first time. I told the doorman she was the reason I'd come to the show. He looked at me weird, but then he offered me my money back. He didn't have to. He could have been a prick. I got on the bus and went back to Cincinnati. It was pretty crowded when I got to CS13. Lots of bowling shirts, weird $60 haircuts, and very nice shoes. I was the only one there who was cool enough to wear a yellow jumpsuit. I waded through the trendinista, fashionistas, and gayanistas so I could sit up front. The only place I had to sit was by this really pretty wallflower. I knew the type. I'm the troubled, beautiful girlfriend of Mr. Gifted, Misunderstood Artist, but I love him. When I sat down next to her, she snatched up her oversized trick bag like she thought I was going to steal it. I felt like calling her a stupid bitch. But I am a bald-headed white guy, and I have been told I look like I've killed people, even if I do have a really pretty penis. I heard her ask someone where the bathroom was. She sounded like she was 12. I pointed out the door. When she got up, I saw she was wearing these really stupid-looking high-heeled wooden disco clogs. She took these really long steps like a giraffe with cerebral palsy, or she was going to trip over her shoes and break her neck. She had really nice hips and was elegant in kind of a twisted way, even with her air of a recent nervous breakdown. This art-damaged girl started the show. She was playing violin very atmospherically against a laser machine backdrop. It made her bowing look very dark and mysterious. After she played, I had a few minutes to kill. I went up the street to this nearby art gallery. This really creepy dap girl was having a show. She once told me my yellow jumpsuit was stupid. I took it as a compliment. She always dressed like her mother had been offered medication when she picked out her clothes. Her shows sucked. She said spent 4 years in school so she could throw this crap on a wall. I was going to ask her if she was going to have whoever dyed her hair arrested, but then I thought how the drum player in Ann Weigel, who's one of the most beautiful women in Cincinnati, liked my jumpsuit. I value her opinion a lot more than some fat fashionista with big feet, bad taste, and bad breath. On the way back to CS13, I ran into the boyfriend of this woman who I had befriended on Facebook twice, but who, according to her friends, I was stalking. He said hi to me like we were big buddies. I ignored him. What was I supposed to say? We're both in love with the same train wreck. I just was the one who didn't buy a ticket. When I got back to CS13, the blonde looked like she was setting up a table at a garage sale. I realized that she was in the band. She seemed like the huge pile of cassette tapes, effects pedals, and marital aids made perfect sense to her. I asked her if she needed a level. I got up to the mic and said check, check, sarcastically, and made monkey noises. She said thank you shyly and walked away, suspiciously. I was wondering where the rest of the band was. Then the lights went low, except for a single flood on the floor. It only took a few notes of her first song for me to realize that ditching Southgate House had been a really good idea. One wall of noise after another came crashing down on me. She was pure sex with a side of hotness. And then she raised the mic to the mouth that was fast becoming the center of my universe. I closed my eyes. She was a torch singer at the intersection of outer space and hell. I was the only person on an unspoiled mountaintop. I was a prisoner watching a concentration camp rape. I was a door gunner with an unlimited supply of ammunition hovering over a herd of 1,000,000 pigs. I was bathing in warm opium and breast milk. Her voice loops were a choir of angels. When I dared to open my eyes, we were in a cheap South Texas hotel room, holding each other after hours of lovemaking. I leaned over to one of my friends. "This is fucking great." "Fuck yeah," she said. I was embarrassed because I knew I had tears in my eyes. I was caught up in the enthusiasm. I was under the impression that the other people were just as surprised as I was that someone no one had heard of was this good. When she stopped playing, I felt sorry for the next girl up. I went outside because I needed to let my sweat dry. I knew that her band definitely had a new fan. When I went back inside, she was doing the merch table. I heaped praises of her set on to her. She seemed impressed that I had gotten the point of her wall of noise, torch song sound. She was curious about my jumpsuit. I told her I was the roughneck poet and that poetry could be dangerous. She told me about her new video, which had just come out 2 days ago. She turned out to be very approachable for somebody who probably got approached a lot. Later, I fussed at Sloan for not showing up to her show, even though I was really glad that she had ditched her show. But every time she leaves her lipstick on my cheek, I usually forget I'm pissed at her. Especially this time. Thank you.